Hi there from Chilled Squirrel. My name is Matt, and I'd like to tell you about my journey into the e-biking world. It was a scary one. I was in Taiwan at that time studying Mandarin. A bunch of friends at a Christmas party said, "Why don't you come cycling tomorrow? We're going." And I was like, "No, I can't. I've got this, I've got that." And I was a bit unfit, to put it lightly, and overweight. And so I said, I'm not going with you guys. My friends convinced me eventually, and I gave in. They said, "Oh, we've got a bike for you. We've got a nice bike. You coming?" Met them at 5 o'clock in the morning. Could hardly sleep that night. Was so worried that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with them, and I knew they were going to be going for about 50 k's into the mountains. So I thought to myself, well, if I can't make it after 10 k's, I'll just turn around. And after about 10 Ks, I had still had friends around me, pushing me, encouraging, inspiring me, and saying, "Come, you can do it, you can do it." And it got a bit irritating. So I said to them, "Look, guys, I don't want to slow you down. You guys go ahead." And so, to make matters worse, I actually asked them to leave because I literally, after about 10 minutes, I got horribly lost. I must have taken the wrong, the fork in the road, and I'd gone down the wrong cycle track and got horribly lost, and was sitting on a rock eventually after going up a steep hill, and just wondering to myself, how am I going to actually get back? I've got my cell phone battery's flat. I don't have a GPS, and it's 38 degrees. I'm pouring with sweat, and I'm dehydrated. I've got no more water left. And I started praying, what else am I going to do? Like, please, God, help me. And about 5 minutes later, I saw this guy coming up the hill, kind of cruising up the steep hill that I'd struggled up. And I said to him, "Please," in my desperate voice, I said, "Please, can you help me? I've got totally lost." And he said, "No problem." And he started taking me back down. Very luckily, it was downhill and not uphill again. And he took me back to Taichung City. And as we came into the city, there was a 7-Eleven there. And he went in and got me a water. I was sitting outside, and I just glugged that water down. I was so dehydrated. And we exchanged contact details. I used his phone to contact my friends, just tell them I was okay. They were so worried about me. And he said to me, "Do you know I was riding an e-bike?" And I said, "E-bike?" He said, "Yeah, e-bike is like something that helps you. It's like it's got pedal assist, and it helps you get up hills." And I was like, I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what he was really talking about. E-bikes were quite new. It was 2012 at that time. So he said to me, "You know what? Why don't you come have lunch with me next week? I'll show you what it's about." We're actually exporting e-bikes to Norway and Sweden and UK and Germany. And so I went to his factory, and I was blown away. There was these production lines, with frames, and getting the wheels built, and motors being inserted into the frame, batteries. And I was blown away that it had become so popular and something that I had no idea about. And he said to me, "Would you like to ride? I've got a few e-bikes here. We can jump on and go for a little spin around the city." And I jumped on, and I was blown away. There was, it was like no hill was a problem, and it just was exhilarating feeling. And I just thought to myself, wow, I can actually cycle now with my friends. I can go with them on the weekend, and I can keep up with them. And so little did I know that I was going to get ripped off, because when on the next cycle tour, when I went with my friends, they were like, "Ah, that's cheating. That's got a motor in it," and they were kind of making me feel bad about it. But I didn't feel bad. I was like, it's kind of like when you get your car that originally has no air conditioning, and then you get air conditioned car. It's like my first car didn't have air conditioning, and then my next car had air conditioning. I was like, I'm not going back. And the same thing with an electric bike. I said, I'm not going back. And it's just became something that I was so excited about. I contacted my family, and I said, "Have you guys heard about e-bikes? You've got to ride one, and this was such a turnaround in my cycling world, because I wasn't majorly into cycling, but it just got me cycling every weekend. I was just enjoying it and loving it. And then I started, cycling to work, cycling back. and just changed my cycling world altogether. And that's my journey into the world of e-biking.